What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Fantasy NBA Tonight Live with me, Vince Miracle, and my co-host every single Thursday. Moving forward, going into the regular season, the one, the only, John R. Sill. John, what's going on? It's been a week. I missed you.
Yeah, I missed you too, man. Lots happened since we last talked about making projections, and now we're actually rolling in the season, seeing how our guys are doing. So it's good to get this going.
You just said the word rolling into the season, and DeMarcus
Uh-oh.
Cousins just rolled his ankle.
Sorry, that's
And
my
that is
fault.
it did not look good. Oh, he rolled his ankle pretty bad. He's fine. He's up. He's walking. But when a big man rolls his ankle, that is not a good thing. I am a Sacramento Kings fan. For those who are joining us, I'm going to wait for the viewership to come up a little bit. Answering all these questions. I'm a Sacramento Kings fan, and the game is on right now. DeMarcus Cousins is exiting the game and sitting on the bench. I bet you they're going to look to tape up that ankle real quick as they're leading the Spurs 61-55 in the Golden One Center grand opening. Open to the not grand opening, but first ever game in the Golden One Center for the regular season. But John, who's your team again? I don't think I asked you this on Thursday. Who's your team?
So I've grown up a Phoenix Suns fan, so we just got killed by the Kings there.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and then but I've recently moved to Salt Lake City, so I'm also kind of supporting the Jazz now that I'm here. But I mean, as far as my true fanhood is with the Suns. So
nice. Well, guys, what we like to do here on Fantasy NBA Tonight is answer all of your fantasy basketball questions. Now, what I do know is that there are games going on. There's the Sacramento Kings versus the San Antonio Spurs. Go Kings. And then there's also the Portland Trail Blazers taking on their interconference rival, the LA Clippers. I actually have been watching that game very closely. One player that I want to bring up for fantasy wise here, John, I want to get your thoughts on him. Is Noah Vonleh has played very well so far when he is on the floor. Is he starting to pique your interest a little bit in fantasy?
In fantasy, I mean, not really. I went with Myers Leonard last year, and so I was kind of keeping an eye on the big man rotation there in Portland. And to be honest, it's really hard to get comfortable with any of their big men for the most part. Plumlee is pretty much the only one that you can rely on, and even his value is kind of held back by his free throws. But the rest of them, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the minutes and the production is just not going to be consistent enough to warrant, unless you're in a really deep league.
Ben Coronado joins the chat and says, up 8-3 in my league, just saying, and has the cool guy emoji in our live chat here. So just so you know, Ben, I'm up 7-2 this week. Sup? Just saying. Me saying sup is my cool man emoji. It's going to be a loosey-goosey type of show every time we do it here at 9 p.m. and there's so many games on. But being that it's Thursday, these games will be ending here pretty soon. And we do want our live chat to start getting in their fantasy basketball questions. So no matter the size of your league or what type of league you are in, we're here and we're ready to answer all of your fantasy basketball questions. And for those who don't know and you are a brand new viewer of this show, this is Fantasy NBA Tonight Live, and this is a hoop-ball.com presentation. Now, John, like I said, the viewership is going to be a little bit up and down while there are two active games going on and one pretty big headliner. So I thought a good idea would be to go look back at a game that happened earlier today, and the two games that happened earlier today, which is the Washington Wizards getting beat by the Atlanta Hawks and the Boston Celtics getting beat by Dwayne Wade and the Chicago Bulls. And the first game we're going to go to is the Washington Wizards and the Atlanta Hawks, and just running down the box score a little bit for both teams. And we only do the starters until later on when you guys are asking your questions. But we had Otto Porter, who played 25 minutes. There were a lot of questions on if he was going to be the starter or not between him and Kelly Oubre. He got the start. He played a lot better in the second half rather than he did in the first half, but he finishes with 10 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals. Markieff Morris, he showed up tonight. 27 minutes, 22 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block on 9 of 18 shooting. Marcin Gortat, 4 points, 11 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. Bradley Beal, quiet in this one in his 23 minutes, 13 points, 4 assists, and not much else. He did shoot 50% from the field. And then John Wall started off very slow in that first half. And I don't mean slow as if he didn't know how to switch the gears, but he just couldn't find a way to put the ball in the basket until that second half. And when that second half came, he was able to put together a pretty nice line. John Wall played 30 minutes in this one, had 3 rebounds, 10 assists, 4 steals, 1 block, but only shot 3 of 15 from the field. He also had 5 turnovers in this game. From the Washington side, John, was there anybody who stood out to you in this one?
Well, I mean, I was kind of disappointed in Beal. I mean, I thought he's been a lot of talk saying he was going to come out and he's ready to take over games and score a ton. And I mean, he came out strong in the first half, but I don't know what happened to his minutes there. I didn't really follow that one as closely, but he kind of was quiet tonight. I think the Porter and Oubre matchup or minutes kind of logjam there. It seems to be still existent to some extent because I mean, Oubre, even though he got pretty poor showing tonight, he still logged 22 minutes. So, that's something to keep an eye on, the Porter and Oubre situation, and we'll just kind of see how that goes.
Yeah, the one thing I saw that was pretty interesting, and it's Scotty Brooks that does it. He had a first unit and he had a second unit, and he rolled. You didn't really see a lot of mingling between the two until maybe a little bit into the second half, or in the ending of the second quarter, or in a little bit to end the third, heading into the fourth. You never really saw a full first unit or a full second, or you never really saw a mixture of the one and the two. You saw either a full second unit or a full first unit, and it never really collided together. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And one guy who stood out to me as well as the bench big man, Andrew Nicholson, brand new player to the Washington Wizards here. Plays 18 minutes and has 9 points and 7 rebounds. But not only that, he was a force on the boards. Not just because it was 7, but he made a difference when he was on the floor because of his energy. He knocked down jumpers. I mean, he was a very strong player for the Wizards. And it was a close game until we got into that second half. And then Atlanta did them dirty by getting, that big lead and just never really looking back. But could you see Andrew Nicholson probably picking up a little bit of steam as a end of the roster type of guy in deeper leagues, or do you want to see those minutes increase a little bit and him do this on a more consistent basis?
Yeah, I mean, deeper league definitely. But I'm even thinking of him. There's potential for him to be talked about. I wouldn't be so bold as to say standard leagues, but at least keep an eye on the guy. I mean, when you look at the Washington roster, their big man rotation it's pretty slim, I think, and Nicholson's one of the few guys that can play power forward minutes reliably off their bench. So, and they've talked about using Porter and whatnot at the power forward spot too. But Nicholson, I mean, he gets you a little bit of points, but rebounds, he can hit threes and get some defensive stats. So he offers a good mix, and he's fairly efficient, I think. So I think he's definitely worth a look in deep leagues. And maybe if he gets more minutes, he could be even considered in standard. So I think he's got some upside.
Let's move over to the Atlanta side, because I think this is where we're going to have a lot of our conversation about, is this guy now a buy low type of character, and is Dwight Howard back? So we started off with Kent Bazemore, very disappointing night. I had him in a couple of my lineups. He plays 26 minutes. Finished with 7 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal on just 1 of 7 shooting. He tried to get his stuff going early. Shots were just not falling, and Tim Hardaway Jr. outplayed him in this one. Paul Millsap did Paul Millsap things. This is why you grabbed him early on in the second round. 28 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, a block on 11 of 20 shooting, 3 of 4 from the free throw line. But from a big man, giving you 3 3-pointers is always nice to see. And then he also only turned the ball over twice. And then making his Atlanta Hawks debut, Dwight Howard plays 30 minutes, grabs 19 rebounds, scoring 11 points, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 3 blocks on 4 of 9 shooting. The free throw shooting did not hurt you this one. 3 of 4 from the free throw line, and he had 3 turnovers. Kyle Korver, a little bit quiet still, but I bet you're going to start seeing his numbers pick up at least a little bit more. I expect him to get right around 10 points a game per season, or 10 points per game this season. Finished with 5 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 steal. Of course, the man knocked down at least 1 3-pointer. And Dennis Schroeder played 25 minutes in his debut as the Hawks starting point guard, had 14 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal on 6 of 12 shooting. John, what were some of your takeaways from the Hawks?
I think the biggest thing I noticed was like you're talking about minute wise. they won big, but only two of their starters played 30 minutes or more. So, in that situation, you're talking about a lot of value potential for the bench. So, Cephalosha and Hardaway, guys that could maybe be considered for some leagues, just because the minutes are there. If the coach is willing to use his bench players that much, I mean, that only means great things for fantasy players. So.
Yeah, and the guys who stood up were the guys on the wing, and that was Tim Hardaway
Yeah.
Jr., who I wanted to bring up. 21 points off the bench for the Atlanta Hawks, knocked down 3 3-pointers. He was very active the minute he stepped on the floor. Thabo Cephalosha, he can be a 3-and-D guy. He really can. He can get you the steals. He can give you those Danny Green type of stats when he's healthy. We've seen him do it before. And tonight he got the minutes. He seems to be healthy once again. 21 minutes, 13 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 steals for Thabo Cephalosha. 6 of 8 shooting, and he also knocked down 1 3-pointer. It only took 1 attempt.
Yeah.
So I think that's how the Hawks kind of got that lead, right? The depth came in there. They started playing the strong minutes, the bench did, and they took off, and they never really looked back. And the defensive presence was definitely there for that team. And honestly, Dwight Howard looked good next to Paul Millsap, and I'm not a huge fan of Paul Millsap and Dwight Howard, that pairing. But one thing that the Atlanta Hawks announcer did bring up is that the Atlanta Hawks were terrible in rebounding last season, and Dwight Howard came in game 1 and brought them 19. The second chance shots were real. But another starter that I want to bring up as well is Dennis Schroeder, and he was a little bit of a disappointment in this one. Do you think this would be a good buy low time for a guy like Dennis Schroeder?
Yeah, I mean, well, if you got owners that are pretty, I don't know, impatient, then yeah, this would be great. Because he still shot 50% tonight, so that's great. He added some threes. Yeah, he didn't do much as far as the money stats that you want from him. You're hoping for some assists out of the guy, and the Hawks' leading assister was Millsap. So, really, you're not getting those assist stats from him tonight. But if you own him, be patient. If you are in a league with somebody that is impatient, go ahead and pounce on it, because I see his value going up. I mean, he's always going to have those turnovers. That's going to hold him back a little bit, but overall, I think he's a safe pick for assists and steals. And it seems like in my opinion, there's fewer. There's less depth at the point guard position this season. I think for fantasy options, you got those elite guys up at top, but after that, there seemed like there wasn't much value in drafts. So Schroeder's one of those mid-level guys that you can grab, and he can add a good point guard 2 to your roster. So.
Boston, Chicago. This was probably the most anticipated game of the night. A lot of people already know what they're going to be expecting from the Portland Clippers game. And, everyone knows what to expect from that one. They're high points. The defense is always in and out in those games. I am so low on this Chicago team. I think they're going to implode in the middle of the season. I think they're going to be terrible. I don't think they have any shooting. And then I see a performance like this.
Yeah.
Where they start knocking down their 3-point shots. Did Dwayne Wade find his legs again? Did you see the dagger, the deep threes? I thought I was almost watching the Golden State Warriors play for how many times this Chicago Bulls team were knocking down their open shots. Nikola Mirotic and Taj Gibson playing hand in hand with each other in their lineups and taking out Robin Lopez. Everyone was worried about those minutes in the battle for that open competition at the power forward spot, and you actually saw these two guys playing together. I thought that was a very interesting thing to see on the floor for that Chicago Bulls team. But just to run down the stat line real quick of the starting 5, once again, Jimmy Butler plays 36 minutes, 24 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals on 6 of 17 shooting. Taj Gibson, double-doubles as the team starter, 27 minutes, 18 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist, and nothing defensively. Robin Lopez plays a strong 27 minutes, 8 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist on 3 of 8 shooting, though. That will definitely improve for Robin Lopez. Dwayne Wade, the standout player of the night, making his Chicago Bulls debut, plays 32 minutes, 22 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 block, 7 of 18 shooting, 4 of 4 from the free throw line. But this is the kicker. 4 3-pointers from Dwayne Wade. We're going to talk about that in just a second for sure. And Rajon Rondo making his Chicago Bulls debut, plays 33 minutes, has 4 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, and on 9 of 11 shooting. John, what are some of your takeaways?
I mean, you captured a good amount of them there. This was not at all what I was expecting. Um, I thought for sure Mirotic was going to lose some value coming off the bench, and at the same time, though, I thought he was pretty much all they had for range. Him and McDermott were their only options for shooters outside, and instead we see Wade and Butler knocking down threes, and even Rondo got in for one, and that was kind of a shock. But and like you said, Lopez we thought was the safe minutes guy at center, but then he logged less minutes than both Gibson and Mirotic. So. One thing I did notice, though, Michael Carter-Williams got more minutes than I expected, and Bobby Portis didn't play a single minute, which I didn't expect. So, there's a little bit of, I guess, drama there on the bench. But
yeah, they stuck to a 10-man rotation. One player that I do want to bring up that actually did not get to play is the Chicago Bulls signed R.J. Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Right before the game started, they talked about how he already has a locker. He's going to be number 31. Do you think because of his shooting ability, the ball handling ability that R.J. Hunter has, do you think he can carve out a role with the Chicago Bulls team? I know a guy like Aaron Brewski, the creator and founder of hoop-ball.com. He absolutely loves R.J. Hunter, thinks he's being completely overrated in this NBA. And as soon as he hit waivers, R.J. Hunter had suitors going after him. Teams were looking at him because of what he can do. This was a hard choice for Boston to make to let him go. And now to find out the opposing team is actually signing him, I think this can be an interesting move. But do you think he can carve out a role, John?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, like we said, there's a lack of shooters there in Chicago. And I think tonight it was a little bit of a fluke. Things will come back down to the norms, come back to their averages, and guys like Wade and Butler aren't going to be hitting 4 threes a night. And so, and then you're going to be looking at guys like Mirotic is the only 3-point threat, and he's not even that great of a 3-point shooter. So I think, Hunter, even though he didn't play tonight because he's just new to the team, so he kind of has to get in there and kind of get accustomed to the roster. So once he gets that built up, so maybe here in a few weeks, we might see him carving out a little, 15-minute role at least.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Isaiah Cannon. He got it right around 6 minutes. Michael Carter-Williams got 17. I think you can see Michael Carter-Williams' minutes get cut down a little bit because of his size really worked in this certain situation, going up against Terry Rozier, who we'll get to in just a minute, and who was a strong FanDuel value play, $3,500 on FanDuel, and brought in a very nice night for those who put him in your lineup, like me. But if R.J. Hunter comes in and they look at R.J. Hunter as a strong asset, you can see Michael Carter-Williams 17 minutes probably drop down to 13, maybe 10, and those minutes that Isaiah Cannon got go straight directly over to R.J. Hunter, and that's right around 15 minutes, just under 15 minutes for R.J. Hunter to get. And who knows what he can do in that time, and maybe he can carve out an even bigger role behind Rajon Rondo, which would be an interesting thing to see. But again, I think it's more of a wait-and-see approach. I think the name is going to draw in a lot of interest from people. But I think in deeper leagues and in standard leagues, you don't want to touch him just yet. You don't want to just strike it and see what happens and drop a player that's on the end of your bench right now who's going to produce for you. I think you just stop, put him on your watch list, and take the wait-and-see approach with him unless you feel differently, John.
No, I think that's a good I think right now at the beginning of the season, there's certain guys that you got to move on quick, but those guys that you really think are, you picked them to be top 100 guys or so, you really got to take a wait and see approach. It's too early to make any knee jerk reactions and drop valuable draft picks. So sorry, a little bit distracted. The Blazers just got right back in it. They're only down 1 now.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the Sacramento Kings. They're giving up their lead, 66-68 with 3 minutes and 9 seconds left. Sacramento Kings are leading. And Movie Dude now joins the chat. What's going on, Movie Dude? Says, was tonight a fluke by Taj Gibson, John?
He's targeting me, huh? Yeah, no, I mean,
he wasn't targeting you, but I wanted to target you.
I think the double-double is a fluke. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect him to average that, but I don't see why he can't. I don't know, maybe somewhere closer to 10 points and 8 rebounds, something to that extent. I could see him doing that. maybe 8 rebounds is a stretch, but even
No,
still,
I like 8 rebounds for
yeah,
Taj Gibson. I agree with you.
but I think he'll settle in around there. The scoring, yeah, was definitely higher, and the fact that he took 13 shot attempts, I would say that's high. But to be honest, I guess I don't know where else those shot attempts are going to go because Lopez isn't a guy you're going to give a lot of volume to. So it's either Wade and Butler take him back, or else I don't know where they're going. So maybe the shot attempts are there. I just don't see him as much of a scorer that often, to be honest.
So my take's a little bit different. We saw it tonight. We brought it up in the beginning of when we started talking about these two teams.
Yeah.
With the Chicago Bulls, you saw a lineup of where Taj Gibson was at the center spot and you had Nikola Mirotic playing that stretch 4 role. I think you're going to see that a lot. It worked for the Chicago Bulls. It stretched the floor out for the Chicago Bulls because Taj Gibson can hit that mid-range jumper. And I think the more fluke was the knocking down of the 3-point shots by Dwayne Wade, by Jimmy Butler. I even think Rajon Rondo had a 3, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think that's going to be something that you're going to see all the time. So who's going to be grabbing the rebounds? It's going to be guys like Taj Gibson. It's going to be guys like Robin Lopez. So 8 to 10 rebounds, being that he's a starter, he's going to see right around, I'd say, 27 to 30 minutes a night, which is right in his range to be an efficient basketball player. I don't think, an average of 15 points, maybe let's drop it down a little bit, 13 points, and 8 rebounds, 8.5 rebounds with a block and a steal is out of question for a guy like Taj Gibson. So if he's on your waivers right now, go and pick him up because I think he'd be a strong asset to anybody's team at the end of their bench.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move over to the Boston side because they ran a very tight ship over there. You had 3 players that were DNP coaches' decisions. And we start off at the top with Jay Crowder. He had 14 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal on 4 of 6 shooting in his 35 minutes of action. Amir Johnson started, only played 15 minutes, had 5 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 1 steal, as well as 1 block on 2 of 4 shooting. Fouls. Al Horford had a very, very quiet but well-rounded game. Plays 30 minutes, 11 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 block, 4 of 9 shooting, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, but does not hit a 3-pointer. He was quiet, but he still gave you a across the board stats. The defensive stats we wish was still there. Avery Bradley, 40 minutes, team high, game high, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 block, 6 of 12 shooting, and 1 3-pointer. And Isaiah Thomas, he's going to probably lead the team in scoring this year once again. 25 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals on 10 of 15 shooting. What are some of your thoughts on the Boston Celtics, John?
Well, first off, I want to give them credit for playing so hard in so many minutes. A lot of these guys, after they played last night, and it should have been what should have been a blowout. They ended up getting close at the end. Giving up that lead. So it was good to see that, guys like Bradley are able to run 41 minutes after on a back-to-back. That's impressive. So props to him. I also, on that note, Bradley, we had somebody tweet us, Jay Shane Mahan. I don't know if I say his name right. Oh, no, sorry. J-Ball blogger tweeted at us about Avery Bradley. Is he going to love me and owners back this season? And I'm riding the Avery Bradley train this year. I think he's great value. There's not much threat for his minutes because he's an efficient guy and he plays both ways. So he's really the type of guy that's going to see minutes. He's not going to get taken off the floor because of his defensive abilities. And he makes smart plays out there. So I'm pretty high on Bradley this year. I mean, I think he can provide mid-round value. I think that's, and the fact that you draft him kind of later, that's good return on your value. One guy off their bench that I'm kind of impressed with so far, I guess 2. Zeller's one you got to watch out for because he started the second half of that game, took the starting role from Amir Johnson at halftime. So that'll be interesting to see what they do with that, and that might have been a matchup situation, but we'll have to see how that plays out. But also Jaylen Brown, he's actually, for the most part, I've been pretty impressed with the way he's played for a rookie. He did have a very crucial turnover to end the game when he went to his jump shot and then decided to pass out of it and just had to throw it away. But besides that, he seems like he's come along further than I thought he would. I didn't think he was going to be that ready, but done great so far.
Yeah, I think Terry Rozier was a good play, but I don't think he can keep it up after Marcus Smart returns and then Tyler Zeller. Yeah. I'm not taking any of the power forwards on this team. It's going to be a cycle when Kelly Olynyk comes in. They're going to swipe him out to have a stretch four out there. Amir Johnson, he's going to be hit or miss at times. Brad Stevens likes to go in a cycle at the power forward spot. I think you're going to see Jay Crowder play that position as well when they start going with an extremely small ball lineup. And don't think that they won't. They will go extremely small, having Jay Crowder at the 4, Avery Bradley at the 3, Marcus Smart at the 2, and Isaiah Thomas at the 1. I guarantee you will see that lineups at least at some point this season. And if it works out, you'll see it more often. You brought up Twitter questions. We actually had another one come from, like you said, Jay Shane Mahan. He says, when Josh Richardson comes off of IR, do I drop Justin Hamilton or Contavious Caldwell Pope? And he's in a 12-team 9-cat head-to-head league, 14-man roster.
Yeah, so I think that's
who do you drop, Justin Hamilton or Contavious Caldwell Pope?
So this is tough. I think Contavious Caldwell Pope is the safer bet, but I know Brewski's real high on Hamilton, and and his stat set does offer value. I just think, KCP he's locked in for minutes. So I think for now, I would probably drop Hamilton because he's less likely to get snatched up by somebody else. Especially in it's 12-team. Yeah, I think I could take the risk with Hamilton over KCP because KCP I feel like will get snatched up pretty quick by people that played last season and kind of know what to look for. I think
you definitely, I agree with you. You got to definitely drop Justin Hamilton and keep KCP. I don't think that I don't even know if that's really that hard of a question, right? I mean, what is it about Justin Hamilton? Do you think that there's a good chance that he's going to start building off of his game one? I think it could have been a spoof. I mean, what he brings to that team, being a 7-footer and being able to score, the defensive stats that he can bring, he is 7 foot. So, I mean, he's going to have the minutes there in Brooklyn because of their weak depth chart, but is it better than a Contavious Caldwell Pope where what you're going to get? The
locked-in starter.
Exactly. I mean, do you really want to drop that away for a guy like Justin Hamilton? I think maybe you use him as a handcuff next to Brook Lopez, but I don't know if you're dropping KCP for him, or I don't know. Is that just me?
I mean, that's exactly where I'm coming from too. It's less risky, but there's Brewski made some tweet about he could be, if he gets starter role, he could be top 50 guy just because of his stat set and efficiency. So that's kind of scary to think, but and that takes a lot of what ifs into play. Whereas KCP is a guaranteed locked in thing. So yeah, I don't think there's much of a question at this point, especially since Hamilton's I think he's owned less than 10% of leagues right now. So
yeah, it take the wait and see approach, put him on your watch list, and I guess it also depends on how you've structured your team. You have a guy like Josh Richardson. I don't know what your other shooting guards are looking like, but Josh Richardson's going to be a really good player to have being the starter in Miami. I would rather have Josh Richardson and KCP as my 1 and 2s, like on my actual roster, than I would rather have a flyer like Justin Hamilton, who hopefully he becomes a starter. Hopefully he sees consistent minutes, and hopefully he can continue producing on a night-to-night basis. Where with Contavious Caldwell Pope, if he's not helping you in one category, he's helping you in another. Either it's going to be threes, it could be steals. The fact that he's getting minutes, there's a better chance for him to succeed. So I definitely think you got to keep KCP and drop Justin Hamilton, unless there's even somebody else on your team that you consider worth dropping.
Yeah.
Going to the chat board here, Nugan said, I drafted Lou Williams. I'm wondering if he is worth keeping. He only played 15 minutes last night. It makes me worried.
Lou Williams? Yeah, I mean, I also added him. I actually started him in our hoop ball league because he had 3 games this week, and I thought he was lined up to be the starting 2 guard. But yeah, he came off the bench, and who was it? Started Nick Young, I think. And so
that's the most awkward lineup ever. They had D'Angelo Russell and Swaggy P together after what happened last year.
Yes, and I don't know if that was just a game 1 kind of experiment, but because I don't think Nick Young is the type of guy that really can be their starting shooting guard all season. I mean, Lou Williams is more of a 6-man anyways, but if they're going to bring Clarkson off the bench, you might as well use Lou Williams. So I think he'll come back around. I mean, he was very valuable last season, and I just got to think the minutes will come back.
Do you think that with Brandon Ingram playing, he played point guard minutes. He was handling. He was controlling the team as a point guard. Do you think that's what took it away from Lou Williams? Like, I agree with you. I think you're going to have Lou Williams. He's going to have Lou Williams nights. He's going to get minutes as a veteran, but they have depth now at the shooting guard spot. And if they're going to use Brandon Ingram as a point guard,
yeah,
more minutes away from a guy like that. I think you just need to have him have like 2 or 3 games, and maybe you want to sell him. But I think it also depends on what you have on your waiver. If there's somebody else out there, there's a Josh Richardson, and you wanted to pick him up for doing, or if there's even a Tim Frazier. I think if you wanted to drop Lou Williams and there's a Tim Frazier out there, and I believe he's only owned in 30% of leagues right now, go pick him up, put him on your team, and look and have a solution for now rather than later. Because honestly, I agree with you. I'd be a little worried too. He only played 15 minutes. He's gonna get more, I believe, but I don't know how much I trust Lou Williams.
Yeah. I mean, he did a decent amount of he put some decent stats up for just that 15 minutes, but I mean, as far as his usual scoring and whatnot, but he did get 3 steals, so it wasn't awful, but yeah, it's not what you wanted.
Yeah, and another thing too that you have to keep in mind is that Jordan Clarkson came off the bench as a 6 man, so maybe they took that role away from Lou Williams. That was Lou Williams' role as the 6 man. So
yeah.
Movie Dude says, should I be sad that Beal only got 13 points or happy that he finished the game healthy? I know that's a sarcastic question, but I actually think that is a real question. Like, are you sad that he only finished with 13 points? He's supposed to be a early mid-round pick type of guy. It's a risky third or like middle round pick, but and really nothing else. He battled foul trouble a little bit in the beginning and then just stayed quiet for the rest of the game. Do you sell? I'm one of those guys that, 1, I passed on him in quite a bit of my leagues, and 2, I'm just waiting for him to have a big game so I can sell his name.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've never trusted him. I've never drafted him because, I mean, he's always injured, and I feel like there's other players that can get what he does. But there's always a speculation he's got the upside that other players don't. But I guess I just don't trust him. So, if you can sell him for anything, so like get a big game out of him, a couple big games, maybe a week run out of him, and then sell him, I would do it because it just seems inevitable he's gonna get injured. So
I know I don't trust his health. Yeah. I trust the lottery better than I trust his health. I think that's how bad it is. That's how bad it is with Bradley Beal's health. Jason Vu says Sacramento proud, hashtagged it. Yeah, baby. Let's go. We're losing right now, though. Only down 9. That's single digits. 4th quarter just started. DeMarcus Cousins come back in. That's all right. I'll admit it. I like the Sacramento Kings. I mean, they stayed here. I grew up here my whole life, and the fact that I get to cover them and do this as a job is pretty amazing to me. So I always represent my team, and we'll stand by anyone who yells Sacramento proud because I am also Sacramento proud. And for those who are joining us today, this is Fantasy NBA Tonight Live with myself, Vince Miracle, and my co-host every single Thursday, Mr. John Sill. This is a hoop-ball.com presentation. Intro right here because I'm going to give a shout out to a certain person here on the show. If you ever need help and you need a business lawyer, give this guy John R. Sill at John R. Sill on Twitter. He is there and he is ready to help you. This guy is amazing. That's how smart this guy is. Not only does he know his fantasy numbers, but he can also help you out in businesses. Do you love the free advertising, John?
I love it. I appreciate it. I mean, it's great stuff.
So what we like,
if it actually turns into anything, then I'll be sure to shout you out.
I definitely want a piece of your commission check. I'll just say that. So what we like to do here on Fantasy NBA Tonight Live is answer all of your fantasy basketball questions. Now, all you have to do to get your question here on the show is leave your question down in the live chat, and we'll answer them live here on this show. And if it seems as if I'm a little bit more tired than usual, guys, it's because I am. This rainy weather here in Sacramento is starting to get to me. The season has just begun, so I've been extremely busy. And instead of a rock star today, I'm drinking coffee because we're out of rock star.
Not a rock star guy myself.
I'm a little angry now. All right. I saw you guys tweet about it as well, but it's whatever. Movie said I don't trust the health of Bradley Beal either. His jerseys are made at Kaiser, so I'm just trying to sell.
Gosh.
That's a good one. All right, guys. Yeah, so really all we're doing here now, John, is waiting for more viewers to come on in and for us to continue getting fantasy basketball questions. But, I haven't got to talk to you for a week. and the NBA season has now been 2 days into effect. Is there any players or any team that's starting to stand out to you that is like, oh wow, I need to keep my eye on this guy, or are you just more shocked that the Golden State Warriors got destroyed by the San Antonio Spurs?
No, I mean, I guess a little bit surprised, destroyed, but I was on the Spurs side on that night. Actually, I took their side, the points, but
Me too.
yeah. I mean, first off, I mean that line by the Brow last night was just absurd. I've never seen anything like that in all my years of fantasy basketball. But besides that, there's been some guys that I've been pleased with. Rodney Hood, he's a local guy here with me with the Jazz, and I've got him on a couple of fantasy rosters, so I'm pretty excited of what he produced. There were some other guys that were kind of shocks. I was really impressed with James Harden's assist totals. I mean, I know he had a lot of turnovers too, but his assist numbers last night were crazy, and I really liked watching. I watched I'd say the first half of that Pacers game, and that was exciting to watch. I liked their offense. Just all five starters are potential weapons out there, and it looks like it's a little more free flowing this year than last season. It was just a lot of Paul George action, but this year it looks like they're going to a lot more ball movement and a lot more pieces getting involved. So that'll be fun to watch.
One game that I think was very interesting to see was the Denver Nuggets game, and seeing Jokic, struggle the way he did. And I think a lot of it was because of he had to guard Anthony Davis. He also has not looked comfortable in that Twin Towers lineup of him and Nurkic together, and they happened to start that. Nurkic played very well. He finished with 23 points, a career high. I believe he also had 9 rebounds in that one, but he sat after the third quarter. And actually in the middle of the third quarter, never came back into the game. They rode the hot hand of Kenneth Faried, and Jokic never really got it going. He was very quiet. Should people who drafted him, and I saw him go in the second round, early third round, for Jokic. Do you think fantasy owners should be worried about his night last night?
Well, I mean, I think he's more of a. I mean, he's very safe in roto leagues, and that's the thing with Denver in general. They just seem to be, it's an untrustworthy. Their coach, he's just their rotation. You can't trust it. But as the season goes on, I think also they're the type of team you could see just showcasing players for now and maybe move them before the trade deadline, things like that. Guys like Will Barton and Kenneth Faried are going to be hot names going around during the trade deadline when the rumors start coming. So I wouldn't worry about Jokic right now. I mean, he's the type of guy also down the stretch after the All-Star break, he could come alive again like he did last season. So we'll see. I think he'll find a way to make it work. So for right now, be patient. If you really are scared and get a decent offer, feel free to move on it. But I would preach patience with him.
Super Taco joins us in the chat. Evan Turner. I'm going to answer that right away. I already did. John, do you think that we should drop Evan Turner?
I mean, he hasn't looked great so far. I haven't been paying attention to him, to be honest, because I didn't draft him at all. I didn't even look at him. But I do know, I think like Crabbe, I think, is a priority over him off the bench from what I've seen. And then, Turner's not even getting starting role. Harkless and Amino are starting over him. So it's kind of interesting that they paid him so much and then he's not even getting the minutes. But
he's there for the ball handling ability, though. He's there to pass the basketball. If you're looking for a small forward who's probably going to get you 8 points, 5 assists, I mean, the guy can play.
Yeah,
but he's struggling right now. And for me and my team, I had quite a few point guards on my team. I really wanted to add just one more assisting guy from a different position. I thought Evan Turner can be that, but he's completely killing me on the field goal percentage. I think he's going to be hot and cold throughout the entire year, so he might be on and off the waiver wires in regular 12-team standard leagues, but in deeper leagues, I definitely think you should hold on to him. He's adjusting to a brand new team. I know he's 1 of 6 tonight, but he still has 5 assists. He has 5 rebounds, 1 assist. He's really there to take the ball handling duties away from a guy like CJ McCollum, a guy like Damian Lillard, to have them just move around and get open shots. Unfortunately, he needs to make his shots so they're not sagging off him or double teaming him, and he's not that great of a shooter. So opposing teams right now are letting him shoot. So until he starts finding a rhythm and finds himself within that offense, he may be a problem for you at the end of your bench. So yes, I've already dropped him. Do I think you should drop him? I think it depends on the structure of your team, but I would say yes. I would just say yes.
That's good to just be blunt.
Yeah. I have Dan Bestbris texting me, says how does Kawhi Leonard taste? Because Kawhi Leonard is giving the Sacramento Kings work, but I don't know what he's talking. He must have a delay because I see a tie game on the screen in the fourth quarter with 7 minutes and 40 seconds left. I already know I'm on a bit of a delay. 83-83. I'm super excited. Movie Dude says Tony Parker is sporting a goose egg tonight. Is it time to put him on the bench next to 8-track tapes, the Atari 2600 and Buggy Whips? Well, I'll let you know right now. The only thing I knew out of that whole entire list that you wrote was 8 tracks and the Atari. John, do you know what Buggy Whips are?
I have no idea what that is.
Please identify what Buggy Whips are.
I'm gonna have to hit that Google on that.
I definitely want to know what that is. But what are your thoughts on Tony Parker? I mean, is he going to start losing minutes to Patty Mills?
Yeah, I don't see why not. For starters, he also struggles staying healthy. He's old, and the Spurs, he's the type of guy that Popovich will bench and rest pretty often. So he's also a guy. I mean, he was late in the draft anyway, so it's not like you invested a ton in him to get him. So if he's your last point guard option, I mean, you can wait for now or move on. If there's another guy available, like talking about Tim Frazier or something like that, that has more potential, more upside, I'd probably roll with that. Parker's stat set to be, I mean, he hasn't been that valuable in fantasy for what, 4 seasons now, 5 seasons. It's been 3, 4 maybe. It's been a while.
He's gonna get popped. He's older, like you said. He doesn't shoot 3-pointers. He's really maybe good on a good season, 13 points and 5 assists. So he's the end of your bench type of guy. If you want that name at the end of your bench, he doesn't bring much else other than that. But it looks like he got on the board. He just knocked down 2 free throws. So I would put him next to the 8 tracks and the Atari. And because you're a movie dude, I'll also say put him next to the Breakfast Club because that's an old movie too.
Nice.
Thanks. I love movies. I don't know if you guys know that. I'm a little chunky in the face. It's because I watch a lot of movies and ate a lot of food. I'm breaking John Sill on this show. I have him laughing. I'm glad because you have that voice and that face. You're like, I wonder if I'm gonna laugh, and then I just get you to laugh, and I love it. So I'm gonna continue doing that here on this show, which is Fantasy NBA Tonight Live. And until we start getting fantasy basketball questions, you guys are gonna see me do terrible stand up here on Fantasy NBA Tonight Live, a hoop-ball.com presentation. I want to remind everyone that in all seriousness, this is a show where we answer all of your fantasy basketball questions for hoop-ball.com, but this is a premium product. And at the end of this week, going into next season, or next season, going into next week, we're actually going to be only for in-season subscribers. So to become an in-season member of hoop-ball.com, all you have to do is go in the description below or go to hoop-ball.com, click on premium, and go to the in-season tab. Become an in-season member. You'll get this show. On Sundays, you'll get Aaron Brewski hosting his waiver wire show. You get the Monday lineup show to help who you should have in your roster. And, of course, you get your Q&A sessions here on Fantasy NBA Tonight Live. Fantasy NBA Today, those will continue to be free shows. You can download that through iTunes. Starting next week, we'll have our very own app. We're having a lot of things coming at you from hoop-ball.com right now. But for this show, for our Sunday night show, for our Monday show, there's a lot of things that are going to help you through the season. And then, of course, all the content that's being written by John, by the Riaz brothers, the Denani brothers, Riaz and Zane. Again, guys, I'm exhausted. This coffee is already gone. I need another one.
Get yourself a stronger one.
Wake. Yeah, and plus there's a Kings game on. So that's kind of what we like to do here on the show, is just answer all your questions. And be sure to become an in-season member while you can. It's only $19.99 because on November 1st, it jumps up to $29.99. As I'm moving back over to the chat here, no questions. All right, it says Dan H says, huge fan of the show at work right now watching. Will Kyrie finish ahead of Lowry this year overall? Haha. So will Kyrie finish over Kyle Lowry this year as an overall whole? I think this is Dan H, and I think Dan H is also a huge member of Hoopball. So Dan H, shout out to you. I'm going to beat you in the Fantrax League.
I'm taking Lowry over Irving. Pretty much
A disappointing
that's it.
performance in game one.
Yeah, I mean it's one game, he's still got to throw, he's still got 81 to throw out there some more. Well, I don't know if he'll reach a full season, but still he's going to throw out a lot more good games. He's got a lot more well-rounded value than Kyrie in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go with you as well. I'm gonna go with Kyle Lowry. I think he'll play more games. Plus, I'm also worried about Kyrie's health, and I think the Cavs want to keep him healthy once again going into the playoffs because he was a huge part in the Cavs winning that championship and coming back from 3-1 in those finals to the Golden State Warriors. Man, I still get taken back every time I'm watching those games. And Dan H, thanks for being a huge fan of the show. Even though you're part of hoop-ball.com, thanks for being a huge fan. Smile right back at you. I'm going to beat you in the Fantrax League. Also, John, I'm also going to be beating you in this league as well, just so you know. I'm just being nice because
how you doing this week so far?
I'm losing. Ooh. That's all right, though. My Victor Oladipo kind of hurt my feelings. Him and I are not seeing eye to eye right now. But he'll get back. I'm not so mad at him that I'm shunning him, but that was a very bad performance by him against the Philadelphia 76ers. And I bring up that team actually because I think it brings me into a very good question. Are you on the train? The Joel Embiid train? Are you on the hype machine? Choo choo.
Yeah, I don't know if you go look at my Fantrax roster, you'll know I'm on that hype train. I drafted him. I forget what round, but I reached a little bit. But yeah, I'm a KU guy. I'm a KU grad, so I've got to be on that train. I still don't trust his health. I still don't. And there's a good chance he goes down and they rest him or something to that extent, especially since it's most likely the 76ers are going to be out of it. 30 games into the season, they'll be already out of the playoff run. But once he shows any sign of wear on his body, I don't see why they would play him. So, he's just one of those guys that's going to be hard to trust on the line. But for right now, the upside is there and, might as well reap the benefits.
Super Taco asks, Dedmon a good ad? I think he's a good ad for DFS more than he is for regular season. But, John, what do you think? Is he going to be worth the end of your roster center type of ad?
He's intriguing to me, to be honest. The only thing is, though, they've got enough. What is he? Is he the number 4 big guy there in San Antonio? I think
he's the number 3.
Number 3 is ahead of David Lee. Then because Gasol's kind of not that great on defense, but hand-to-man defense. So if they need that extra help inside, I think he's a good option. He does get you blocks, which those are super valuable. So I didn't catch his stat line from his first game, but I think in super deep leagues, yeah, he might be an option. In standard leagues, I don't think he's worth looking at quite yet.
Yeah, standard leagues, he's definitely not worth the ad unless you're in a deep league. Then I think you can go ahead and go add him. He's going to give you a nice source of rebounds. I think he'll give you the occasional block, but I don't think he'll even average a block a game this season unless you see a guy like Pau Gasol or LaMarcus Aldridge go down and he sees significant minutes. The one and only Dan Bespris is in the chat board. It says Taj Gibson and Nikola Mirotic, BFFs, and also says was hoping for even one block between the two, but I'm definitely running both out there until further notice. They finished the game together, and that's big. Movie Dude says Brewski should be ashamed for not having your energy drinks. Even the cheap generic stuff from the 99-cent store that contains sugar, Inchencia, and meth would be nice. You know what?
Wow.
You know what? First off, I agree. That I don't care. I don't care that he just left me here in the office by myself. I don't care about none of that stuff. He's covering the game. He had a job to do. I understand. But at least me an energy drink. Just one, sir. Just one. Dan, I sent Vince a lewd text message. I hope he didn't read that on air. I did, but I kept it nice. I bleeped myself out, Dan. Don't worry. Looks like the game is starting to get out of hand a little bit. 90-85. Oh no, not too bad. 5 minutes still left in the game. Again, I'm on a delay. This thing's on silent, and this is Fantasy NBA Today. And it looks like we're actually running out of time here, John. We didn't get that many viewers. We were expecting that, but again, this is Fantasy NBA Tonight. We like to answer all of your fantasy basketball questions. Due to the low viewership of the show, I think it would be a good time to just let these games end and have Dan Bespris and Aaron Bruski answer all of your guys' questions tomorrow at the end of their show when they review a lot of these games, John. But I do want to remind everyone that this show will become a premium service going into the regular season. And while the viewership may be low here, the time may be changing on the show as soon as it becomes an in-season package for when the games actually end. So you guys can get a complete initial reaction for how these games played out, who is hot, who is not, who should you add, who should you drop. And we go over all of that here on Fantasy NBA Tonight Live, as well as answer all of your fantasy basketball questions. Now, John, quick question before I let you go.
Great.
If the Sacramento Kings beat the San Antonio Spurs, are they better than the Golden State Warriors?
I'd say let's not get crazy here. Let's take it with a grain of salt.
I'll do one last glance inside of the chat board here. It says Toronto going to the finals. Dan H, stop it. Dan Bespris says, let's get to 200 subscribers on YouTube. We're at 195 and growing. That's right, guys. Hit that like button so we know that you guys like this show. Subscribe to the show if you haven't done so already. We love you as our subscriber. Keep up to date with all the things that are going on with the hoop-ball.com YouTube channel. Movie Dude says, Dan, if you want blocks, I suggest future Hall of Famer by the name of Roy Hibbert, Dan's favorite player. And he wished he never left the Los Angeles Lakers. Kawhi Leonard, 24 points, has picked up his 5th foul, and Rudy Gay is at the free throw line. So at this point, I'm going to say, John, do you have any final thoughts, and where can the fans find you online?
Final thoughts. I just want to throw this out there. I'm thinking maybe Kawhi Leonard for MVP this year. So I might actually move him to my front runner spot. After watching him game 1 and game 2, I think he's just showing he's going to do it all this year, and he looks more aggressive. He looks like he's ready to carry the load. So right now, that's where I'm putting my stake on him for MVP. I shifted it away from some other guys, but as you can find me online at John R. Sill, JOHN, capital RSILL.
And remember, guys, if you need a business lawyer, hit him up.
if
He's
you're
there
in Utah.
and ready to assist you.
So
you guys can follow me on all social media platforms of @VM Center. I'm just reading the chat board here. Dan Bespris is going to town with a lot of these guys in here about Roy Hibbert and Dario Saric and the Sour Patch Saric and the Sour Patch Kid or Saric Patch Kids. Whatever movie, dude, whatever you're calling him, it's Dario Cart in here in the hoop ball team. That's Aaron Bruski's Fantrax name is Dario Cart, and yes, he drafted him. VM Center on Twitter at John R. Sill at Hoopball Tweets. Hoop-ball.com is the site. Subscribe to the show. Hit that like button. Dan, I'm trying to impersonate you. We will see you tomorrow morning at 11 a.m., guys. I want to thank every one of you guys who joined us on Fantasy NBA Tonight Live. And again, we'll see you tomorrow. John.
All right. Thanks, Vince.